Hello, hello, and welcome to the Color Whisperer Show. My gosh, it's been a crazy new year, hasn't it? Anyway, I gotta tell you guys up front. First of all, my sister is in the hospital today, and there has been a major snafu. And I may be needed to get on the phone, so I may have to leave quickly, but we're gonna do what we can do in the meantime. People always ask me, how come I don't trust doctors? How come I don't trust science? Why do I believe in all this holistic stuff? It's just icky medicine. Like, you know what? This fake medicine has been around for thousands of years and it healed people. Medicine as we know it is like maybe 100 years old. It's really not that old. And I got so many, we all have different experiences, right? And I have friends who the doctors have saved their lives and they've done amazing things and they think they walk on water, and bully for them. I don't have that experience. And we've got this idea that doctors are gods. They're not. Doctors are perfect. They're not. Doctors don't make mistakes. You know what the number one cause of death in this country is? Medical malpractice. More people die from medical malpractice than anything. My father died sooner as a result of medical malpractice. He had throat cancer, but they gave him they switched blood with another guy. That guy was supposed to go home the other day, and he went to a different home than he thought. He died and killed my father too, but he was already fourth stage of throat cancer. He wasn't going to get better. So anyway, it shortened his life. But they make mistakes. And I'm so riled up today. So this is why I might have to leave early. So my sister has seizures. She's had seizures for decades. And they're all under control. Got everything going well. It's, she hasn't had a seizure in decades. Everything's great, right? But the thing is, you mess with her seizure medicine, that could cause a seizure. She's on some medication right now. It makes her hands shake a lot. I'm doing some work on them that's helping, but it's hard for her to eat. And the doctor's attitude is, well, it's better than her having a seizure. It just is the side effect of the drug. Don't get me started on that. But she fell a couple days ago. And she was complaining of soreness, and so her caretaker took her to the hospital to make sure she didn't have any broken bones or anything like that, right? So this is where things get really wild. So first they tested for a UTI. They said her urine was cloudy, which I've had a million of those. And usually if your urine's cloudy, you've got a UTI. So the first doctor says, oh, she's got a UTI. Okay, fine. They put her on IV antibiotics. No problem. And it fits with, the story. The next doctor comes in. Oh, no, she doesn't have that. She has pneumonia. Seems to me pneumonia and a UTI look very, very different. Okay, fine. Oh, and now she doesn't have a UTI. She just has cloudy urine. That's not my experience. Of all the million times I've had UTIs, if it's cloudy, it's usually positive. So, okay, fine. Then I get a call, 2:00 in the morning. She's got sepsis. She's got a blood infection. Okay, you die from that. I'm like, how did we? That's not her. How did we get there? How did we get to sepsis? Now, mind you, she saw her regular doctor 4 days earlier. Her doctor checked her lungs, nothing. They were checking her urine. They were waiting for the test to come back. So, okay, the UTI, we kind of expected that. And the last time I saw her, she had a UTI too. So I was like, okay, this makes sense to me. But now she's got sepsis. She's got a blood infection people die from that. I have a friend who's a nurse that just recently died from that. She's a nurse. She knows this stuff, right? So then we go to the hospital in the morning. Oh no, that doctor was wrong. She doesn't have sepsis. Well, fortunately, we were there but she has seizure medication. That's very important. She takes her seizure medication when she's supposed to take it. Well, she takes 500 milligrams in the morning and 500 milligrams at night. And they sat there and they gave her a pill. And of course, she took it, or she was going to take it. But we stopped and said, "What's this pill for?" "Oh, it's for seizure medication." "Well, what is it?" "She doesn't take one at lunch. She only takes it in the morning and night." "Oh, yeah. Well, guess what? What they had on their prescription pad was that she takes 1,000 milligrams morning, noon, and night." Oh my God. She looked all drugged up. She looks terrible. Her face is all red. And this is what they're doing. They're giving her 3 times as much medicine as she needs. By the way, that could cause a seizure. And that could have many, many effects in her ability to move and, just like my mother worked so hard to keep her safe for so many years. And these idiots at the hospital, "Oh, we're going to give her 1,000 milligrams 3 times a day." It's not what her prescription said. We showed them her pill prescription because they didn't believe us. No, that's what it says. Well, here, this is what it says. This is her prescription. This is what it is. Go fix it. So I'm waiting for a call from the caseworker right now, but we go in the hospital and honestly, we're not in a place where we can fight. We need advocacy for us. We need somebody looking over them because they are not doing what they're supposed to do. Hopefully, they did actually rectify it and they're not continuing this 3 times as much as she's supposed to have. But regardless, she's going to come home today because can take better care of her not there than there. And on top of that, we're getting calls constantly. "Oh, do you need stuff to help her bathe? Oh, do you need stuff for this? Oh, you need a healthcare worker to come out there." She's fine. She can walk. She doesn't need help bathing. She doesn't need help doing anything. That part's fine. But they're looking for money. It's money. Y'all, people forget. "Oh, the doctors would never do anything wrong." Right? We've heard this all during COVID. "Oh, the doctors would never make a false prescription. Oh, the doctors would never call something COVID when it wasn't COVID." They could get in trouble for that. No. The doctors are there to make money. It's a freaking business. And this is exactly the kind of stuff I'm talking about. They're running test after test after test on my sister. All that is money in their pocket. It's on Medi-Cal. So you know who's paying for that? Guess who? Taxpayers, right? And they're utilizing that to just throw money. They don't care. Let's throw another test. "Oh, we still don't know what's wrong. Oh, let's throw another test." Now, if it was just a matter of they didn't know what was wrong, but they're not coming up like, okay, UTI is pretty clear. You pee on a stick turns color, you got a UTI. You don't need a CT. You don't need a CT exam for that. Lungs, pretty clear. You listen to the stethoscope. Okay, maybe you want to do an X-ray. Okay, fine, I'll accept that. They did her blood. She just recently had a blood test, and there was nothing in her blood, and now all of a sudden she's got sepsis. And you know where a lot of people can get sepsis? It's in the hospital. People think the hospital is a place to go get wild. There's so much illness in the hospital, you can get sick. My dad, when he was dying, any idiot could see this man had days left. I mean, there was definitely not going to be weeks. It was days left. You didn't need to be a doctor to see that. You didn't need to be a nurse to see that. You didn't have to ever go to any kind of medical school to see that this man was done. And it's just a matter of time. And it was a short time. And they're sitting there telling me, "Oh, he can get better." Well, we got to do a bone marrow test on him. They should have been talking hospice, Nobody said the word hospice. Nobody said the word hospice. And they're telling me, oh, we have to see if he has bone marrow cancer. Do you know how expensive that test is? Do you know how painful that test is? And they want to take his last bit of life and turn him into a pincushion so they can make money. I went to dinner with a lady the other night, and she's telling me she had heart surgery, open heart surgery during COVID. Scared out of her mind. She didn't want to do it. Doctor said, you got to do it. She recently went to her regular doctor, and he happened to see the x-ray that they took, that they requisitioned the heart surgery for. He says, there's nothing wrong with your heart. Why did you do this? Why didn't you get a second opinion? She had open heart surgery unnecessarily. You know how long it takes to heal from that? You know what an invasive thing that is? You know how much pain she was in? Because they needed to make their rent that month. A few months ago, I had a cat that was needed to be put down. And I wasn't quite at the stage where it was obvious it had to be put down. I mean, it was getting there, but I still thought maybe. I bring him to the vet. The cat reeks of urine. Reeks of urine. Now, I don't know what cat urine with a kidney infection smells like, because it's not something I deal with every day. But I sure do know what a UTI infection smells like, and it's pretty. And I was like, this cat's urine smells really, really bad. Like that, I did make the connection. And she sits there and she tells me, he's got a polyp in his ear and it's $1,000 surgery. You need to do it right away. He's really uncomfortable. You need to do it now. You need to come in tomorrow. $1,000. Well, I was like, where am I going to get $1,000 for this cat? So I went home and thought about it and tried to reach out to a few things. And I was like, what am I going to do? And the whole time, it didn't ring that this was what was wrong with the cat. It didn't make sense to me. This is what was wrong with the cat. Well, the next morning, guess what? The cat had deteriorated quite a bit, and it was very obvious this cat was not going to get better, and that his problem was not a polyp. Cat was dying. They'd had their way. I would have spent $1,000 on a cat that was dying, and he still probably would have died on the table. Probably would have died on the table. And that would have been his last breath instead of me holding him while they put him down. It's cruel. It's not how we should be treating people. It's not how we should be treating pets. I have another friend, this has been a few years ago. She had something funny with her jaw and she needed to have surgery, and they did research, and I don't remember all the details of her illness, and it's not as important as what happened. So they found this guy. They went to the big guru, the head guy, the best guy in the country to do this particular surgery. He doesn't do the surgery. One of his friends does. And part of the surgery is moving her nose a little bit. Well, instead of moving it a little bit one way, he moved it that much the other way. She woke up screaming in pain. Oh, well, we'll redo the surgery for free. Yeah. A couple of years go by. She's still in tons of pain. She's seen tons of doctors that don't take insurance, and all kinds of specialists. Finally comes out, guess what? She never needed surgery. She didn't need it. She's in tons of pain. Her quality of life has gone down so much. She's miserable because some doctor wanted to make his European vacation. You know, they're supposed to sign this Hippocratic oath. I will do no harm. Watch Outlander. Yeah, watch Outlander. There's a whole scene on this that's really poignant where There's a guy who's dying, and there's a mob that wants to do terrible things to him. And she's like, I can help him go. He's going to die anyway. He might as well die peacefully. And, she's kind of grappling with it. Do I do this? But if she let the mob have him, he was going to be in a whole lot more pain. And terrible, terrible things are going to happen to him. So the kinder thing was to give him the medicine that would, end everything. But they do have to take a Hippocratic oath. Do no harm. Do you believe in science? Oh, we heard that so many times. I believe in science. I believe in science. Really? You're talking about the same science that is messing up my sister, possibly causing her seizures, that is making mistakes? Are we talking about the same science that killed my father? Are we talking the same science? I had bloody noses. I was having asthma, and I had these horrible bloody noses. And I've gotten bloody noses since I was a kid. And my nose had been cauterized once before. And it was in high school. I had this really bad bloody nose. And a nurse, she didn't know what to do with me. Freaked out my teacher. She's like, is she still bleeding? She has to go down the nurse. I knew how to fix my bloody nose. The nurses, they never do. They just here, put something under your lip. Well, that didn't work for me. By the way, if you have a bloody nose, what works? You take the bridge of the nose and you pinch, right? Like so. That's what you do. You don't pinch down here. You pinch up here at the bridge of the nose. Putting a little thing under your lip. That never did work for me. Okay, so this teacher kept sending students in to check on me, and I'm fine. Let me be. You have to go to the nurse's office. You have to go to the nurse's office. I want to go to the nurse's office. Just give me time. Finally, she said, you have to go now. Fine. So I went. Got the little thing under my lip. And she called my mom and said, oh, you have to go to the doctor. So my old pediatrician happened to live pretty close to my school. So my mom called him up and said, can you help? Sure. So I go in there. He does this. And then he cauterizes my nose. He cauterized my nose. He just took, basically, it was a stick, and he put a little cotton swab on it and put a couple drops of a chemical on it. And bam, it took seconds. I was fine. Everything was good. So this time, I go in the hospital. I'm having bloody noses. And I had lost my ability to hold my nose. And my husband at the time didn't know how to do it. I tried showing him, but I didn't have the strength to do it. He called the fire department. 6 big, strong guys come in. They're doing everything but this. Now, this was when AIDS was a really big deal. So they've all got their gloves on and da-da-da, right? Okay, fine. And I'm like, can somebody just this? Nobody. So I'm doing the best I can with it. And you go to the hospital. By the time I finally get to see a doctor, it's all stopped. On my own. He says, we're going to cauterize your nose. Okay, done that before. That was a piece of cake. So he comes back with this 4-inch high piece of foam, an inch wide, and goes, oh, we're going to stick that up your nose, and you have to keep it there for 3 days. I'm like, why? This took seconds last time, and it worked fine. I've lost a ton of blood. I wasn't able to be my own advocate. It's like my sister wasn't able to be her own advocate. She's loopy. She's tired. She's trusting the doctors. Trusted the doctor. So I stick this thing up my nose. I sit there for 3 days. I have to go back and get it out. So this side of my nose, actually it's this side of my nose, that was the nose. It's whiter inside. It changed something up there. And it's been a permanent change. And you know what? I still had to go back to the ENT and get the other kind of cauterizing. And it cost me $700. So this was 1995. It cost me $700 for a 4-inch piece of foam that didn't do the job. But you don't know. I mean, here I was, I already had my nose cauterized. And I'm like, well, you're supposed to know something I don't, right? We have to be advocates for ourselves. We have to go, this does not make sense to me. They are not gurus. They make mistakes all the time. Hey, Mark.
Speaking of not being gurus, like I was telling you before, my friend that I have lunch with about once a month, his dad is in his last days and they're in the hospital. Matter of fact, he's down in Florida. I think he got there yesterday, so I don't know if the dad has passed away, but he is expecting, like your dad, that he won't live that much longer and everything. But he was telling me that his sister forgot to bring the DNR and everything like that. So she didn't have the do not necessitate papers and everything like that. So of course they did bring him back and everything like that, and he's refusing oxygen and doing things like that because he's sounds like he's ready to make that journey, whatever that journey is that folks have when they're going to the other side, if you believe in such things and everything like that. But it sounds like this Jewish man is ready to make that journey and everything. But I was just touched when he told me that she had when they took him, because I think he had a fall. When they took him to the hospital, she did not have the DNR papers. So to your point, the doctors are trying to make money. They're going to resuscitate him because they can't make any money if they don't resuscitate him. So it's another example of what you're talking about, because she did not have those papers, that particular sister, because he has a couple of siblings, my friend, and everything along those lines. But yeah, a lot of times they're in it for their money. And to your point about being an advocate, I think I've told this story before on this show. One time mom was in the hospital and they were going to give her some food that she didn't like necessarily would have a good reaction to. And she advocated for herself and let them know that was not going to be a good.
Look at the kind of food they give you in the hospital. There is nothing in that food that's healthy. Yeah. Absolutely nothing. This is supposed to be a place of health. And what do they serve you? The stuff they serve you, the last time I was in the hospital, it was like there was a restaurant, but it was stuff you'd see in a diner. It was all stuff that was full of grease, full of calories, full of sugar. And I was like, okay, well, maybe they put some kind of sugar alternative into it. I don't know. But I looked at the menu and I was like, there is nothing on this menu that's healthy. And if you did have a diet restriction of no salt or no dairy or no anything, it wasn't there. You couldn't eat gluten. There wasn't a non-gluten option. There wasn't a non-dairy option. There wasn't, and in a hospital, you're going to get a lot of people with different things. I had interstitial cystitis. I couldn't eat anything but there was nothing on there to deal with any kind of diet. And I would guess that at least a third of the people in the hospital have some kind of diet restrictions.
No,
I just was appalled, and none of it was healthy. The vegetables were like ridiculous, but there weren't. The choices were not healthy choices. It was like,
yeah, I agree with you, Jeanette. Because even when my dad was in care, like he was in a nursing care, not hospice, but like a nursing care after you've had a severe surgery, when they'll take you to a rehab center. That's the word I was looking for, a rehab center, and all along those lines. But even when he was at that rehab center, he was so glad when his lady love would go out and get him real food, because the foods they were serving there was not all that great and everything like that. So even in the rehab centers, and I would argue probably the hospices, there's not the best food that is available. So they don't really do a good job of trying to make sure that you're having healthy options.
They don't care about health. They don't care about health. The food they show you, the food they serve you in the hospital tells you, first of all, they don't care about health. And the doctors, most doctors, they don't get hardly anything on nutrition. They don't hardly get any information on nutrition. Maybe they get a day of classes with it. That's it. They're not taught it. So, my woo woo stuff. Well, my woo woo stuff is thousands years old, and it involves doing basic stuff that does work on the body. And how much does medicine hurt? I mean, this medicine my sister's on, it's great, but them giving her the wrong dosage could throw her.
Well,
I mean,
speaking of the woo woo stuff and everything along those lines, I do know that when I lived, and unfortunately, this friend that I was living with at the time, because we lived in a townhome and everything like that, he passed away. I think it was last year that Jerry passed away and everything like that. But across the street was a lady that did a lot of that alternative health stuff. And I don't know if she's still here in Durham or not, or if she still has that shop. But I know that she was into like what do you call it, acupuncture and stuff like that. So I just wanted your take on acupuncture, because a lot of the Eastern health is probably better than our Western health, because she was definitely into acupuncture and some of the acupuncture treatments. So I just wanted your thoughts around acupuncture, since we're thinking about medicine and everything like that, because I think she might have even been an acupuncturist, but I know she was into some alternative medicines.
acupuncture got me pregnant. I
Huh?
tried and I tried and I tried. Acupuncture got me pregnant. If it wasn't
Wow.
for that, I wouldn't have gotten pregnant. It didn't work, but I mean, I wasn't able to carry all the way through, but I got pregnant because of acupuncture. I have a friend who has a massage company aimed at fertility. She's made many, many women pregnant. And it's because our bodies, one of the biggest reasons women don't get pregnant is their uterus isn't in the right place.
Right.
And then there's dietary things that we're not taught. I mean, shoot, how long did we have bread and grains as the top thing on the pyramid? We just got the pyramid fixed so that it's vegetables at the top and fruits at the top. I'm like, that's where they're supposed to be, right?
Right.
It makes sense. Why is something, and there's so much crap in our food.
Yep. Tons of crap.
There's so much crap in our food. It's ridiculous. And this, I trust the FDA. Really? You want to look at what's actually in your food? You want to see the stuff they passed? I very early on in my life, my husband was involved in a case with the FDA, and there was a drug that was an amazing drug, and it was past all the tests. It's going to be out there. There was a snafu with the patents. And so it didn't get out there. So now it's in the woo-woo vitamin store, and it's not real medicine, but it is real medicine. And the only reason is it was too expensive to get through the FDA. The FDA costs a ton of money. It's not checking out safety. You're paying for the license to do stuff. When you start looking up what things like natural flavors are in your food, oh, ew. It's gross. And it's in everything. It's in everything. Some of the stuff that's in the dyes, it's some of the stuff that's in when you start really looking into what's in our food, and the FDA passed it. You know why the FDA passed it? Because they got paid off.
No, you're talking about natural flavors.
Off.
They totally got paid off. You're talking about natural flavors, and some of those natural flavors and natural dyes aren't really all that natural. I'm not gonna lie. I sometimes, if I'm thirsty, will have I try to get regular drinks like lemonade. I know my parents say that I'm too addicted to iced tea, and I'll of course have water and stuff like that. But there have been times that I have gotten Gatorade, and Gatorade definitely has some of those horrible chemicals in it and everything like that, and some of the other energy drinks, because that's what Gatorade is supposed to be. But some of them have horrible chemicals in them when you look at the ingredients. So you have to be careful about that, because they have some chemicals, and then, like you said, you look up the definitions of what those natural flavors are. They're not natural at all.
Not at all. Spices. I remember as a kid, I'd look at something and it's like, there's cinnamon, there's nutmeg, and spices. I'm like, well, what are cinnamon and nutmeg? Why is spices this vague thing? And then we have cinnamon and nutmeg called out. I found out why we have spices as a vague thing, because it is a vague thing. And people, if they knew what spices was, they wouldn't eat it. But the FDA says it's okay. So we put it on the thing. As long as you label it under spices, it's okay. Let's give them a lot of money so that we can create crap in our food that makes people sick.
Yep.
And if you look at, if you look at, I gotta kind of keep myself calm a little bit. But okay, when we remember when we were kids, right? There's smoking everywhere. Every restaurant had a smoking a cigarette dispenser, right? Everybody smokes. And then there was that big campaign, like in the early 80s, that people stopped smoking. You know what the cigarette companies did? They bought food.
Oh no,
If
girl,
you look
I'm
and
here in
see,
North Carolina,
they
and
bought
one of the
into
biggest.
food. And
No,
what they did was they put the same addictive stuff that they were putting in the cigarettes. I'm not talking about the nicotine, but there's other stuff that was in there to make it addictive. And they put that in your food.
I mean, let's look at one of the greatest mergers, which is actually based here in North Carolina. I think it's based in Winston-Salem, which isn't that far from me. But there is a reason that RJ Reynolds bought Nabisco, because Nabisco is very much candy and food and everything. And there's a reason that they got in bed with them and everything like that. Because, like you're
Yeah.
saying, probably put some of those things in the items of the snacks. And I want to say that
And all this stuff makes us sick. And who does that benefit? That benefits pharma. So
Right.
then you have to get medicine.
Right.
It's a very interesting loop. When you go down that rabbit hole, when you really go down that rabbit hole, you are just going to be so, like, you won't trust any doctor ever. You're not going to trust all these people we're taught, oh, you have to trust them, you have to trust them, you have to trust them. No, you don't. You don't have to trust the doctor.
Yeah.
You have to ask questions. You have to be an advocate for yourself. Bring somebody with you. Have somebody there to say, hey, what is that? Why are you doing that?
Right.
And unfortunately, you got to sit there and you got to do some really fast Googling. And really, it's not even just Googling. Does this make sense? They're saying, oh, we want to do a bone marrow test on your dad. I'm like, the fuck you are. Sorry, I don't know if we can swear on her.
No,
but
you can swear. We
but
have a show called
I'm
Naked
like,
and They Swear
you
All the
are
Time.
not turning him into a pincushion, and then he probably dies on your table, because that's a really difficult thing. My sister could be thrown into a horrible seizure and could even die from that because they're making a mistake.
Yeah. You got to be an advocate for yourself, and if you can, be an advocate for others as well, and everything like that. I did see some more positive news and everything along those lines that folks would be glad to hear, because I know we'll get to Kindred Spices shortly and everything like that. But apparently, if those that are into, and that could be good for you and also bad for you, but I know a lot of people will be rushing because tomorrow is that day that people celebrate, some of them that have other halves and everything. So I was seeing a story, because you're actually hearing it in the background, where some lady that's got a chocolate company or a cookie company, her prices went down because apparently the price of coffee or cocoa is now down to like around $1.79 when it had been up to $10. So it does look like the price has gone down. So that means that people can get a cheaper version of a chocolate treat or a candy treat, since apparently candy and flowers are the number one things that people get.
Yeah, and if you're carrying, look and see what's really in your chocolate, because there's some nasty stuff in there. You want the dark chocolate, you want the dark cacao, and you want the organic stuff, because there's stuff in there. I don't know, but there's stuff in the major chocolate, people, that you don't want in your body.
Yeah, you don't want that stuff that Nestle's got, because some of the other big chocolate companies, I agree, some of that stuff you do not want in your body, and it's not good for you in the least bit. So people need to be looking in their food and even analyzing what they're getting, even in something as simple as peanut butter and some of the other things. So there can be some dangerous stuff in some of those store-bought products as well. And I'm sure that, because there'll be certain things that they tell you are good for you, and then they change their mind. Because didn't we change our mind about the health benefits of eggs? Because I know there was a time that eggs were supposed to be very beneficial. Then they got worried about cholesterol.
Another reason not to believe in science, because science keeps changing its mind.
That's
we have to do our own research. We have to not just depend on what the news media says is good or what the scientist of the day says. We have to do real research into real health books, because the real health books will tell you what's right, and not just whatever the trendy thing is that you're seeing on Dr. Oz or any of these other places. Oh, it made, somebody, people don't understand how much marketing. When you own a business and you realize how much you have to pay for marketing, everything you see out there is paid for.
Right.
It costs money to get on the news. Now, maybe you can get you might be able to get a little thing, but you have to have a certain presence for them to talk to you. You have to have, there's so many things that go into getting publicity. And 9 times out of 10, that means you're paying a publicity agent tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Let me say that again. Tens of thousands of dollars to buy their stuff so that, you've got the latest miracle drug out there and, or whatever it is, the miracle food, whatever it is. And, cereal, it's like a mainstay of our world these days, right? It was, and what it was Mr. Kellogg. There were 2 Kellogg brothers. Do you know this story? So there's 2 Kellogg brothers. One Kellogg, back then, one of the big diseases was consumption. And so they had a clinic that people would go to for consumption. And then what was the other one? It had to do with lungs. Oh, I can't remember right now. But everybody was having lung issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so people would go there, and for all kinds of, to lose weight, to do that. It was a clinic for health. And the Kellogg's flakes that we know today are full of sugar and everything else. These were very bland, and he had some really unusual practices. There's a great movie Robin Williams did that talks about it. I can't remember the name. Maybe you can look it up while I'm talking.
Yeah.
But the other brother, he's like, there's the building caught on fire, and they lost everything. And the other brother was like, we've got this. We can make this for the world. And they did, but he added sugar to it, and it wasn't the healthy thing that they originally had. And they sold it. And so much of our health stuff comes from publicity. Mm-hmm. Even Santa, the way that we know him, comes from Coke. Coke came up with that image of Santa. And it was a way for Coke, because people were buying Coke during the summer, but they weren't buying Coke during the winter. So they brought Santa in and said, oh, I don't know what the tagline was then, but how do we sell Coke in the winter? And that's what they did. And that's really where our Santa came from. So much of our stuff that we do every day, it's marketing. It has nothing. Kellogg's partnered with the banana people and said, here, put bananas on the cereal, and we'll both market together, and we'll make a lot of money. And they did. So a lot of our ideas of what's healthy isn't, how like certain vegetables come in vogue, like right now Brussels sprouts are all the rage. When we were kids, like, ew, eat Brussels sprouts, ew, right? Well, somebody lobbied, the Brussels Sprout Association, whatever that is, they lobbied and said, we want to do it. And they spent money to make Brussels sprouts the cool thing. They hired people to make recipes where they taste good. Everything we see takes money. Look at this Bad Bunny stunt we had. Okay, he started out with, he's gonna sing and drag, he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that, right? And everybody was talking about Bad Bunny. I'd never heard of Bad Bunny before that. Did you know who he was beforehand? I bet there are millions of people who never heard of Bad Bunny before the Super Bowl. But suddenly that's all anybody was talking about. Oh my God, you got to see Bad Bunny. You got to see Bad Bunny. I'm like, I don't like rap. I don't need to see Bad Bunny. I'm not going to see Bad Bunny. I don't care. I don't watch football, and I don't like rap. So I'm not going to watch Bad Bunny. But, then you were bad if you didn't watch Bad Bunny. And I'm like, I don't like football. I don't like rap. But now you're calling me a bad human being because I didn't watch a show that I don't care anything about? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
really? But this is how marketing gets in our heads. And it's everywhere. Every single thing you got to look and see. How was this marketed? Who paid for this? Because this is what's formed a lot of our lives. And it gets in our head, and it gets in, this is what's supposed to be healthy, right? It's not. It's not at all.
Robin Williams, I saw Man of the Year, and I also saw some movie called it was another.
It's not Man of the Year.
It's not meant Kellogg.
It came out like in the late 80s, early 90s. The
Yeah.
Road to Wellville, that's what it's called. The Road to Wellville.
The Road to Wellville. Okay.
The Road to Wellville. Great movie. And this is where, people think, oh, this is just what's going on in the world. No, people pay for this marketing.
Oh yeah.
People pay for this marketing, and this is what shapes us. So you got to look at what you're doing too. Are you doing this because somebody marketed it to you and told you this was good? Or are you doing this because it's actually good for you?
Right. You have to ask yourself
how many things? Oh, cigarettes are healthy for you. Now, you and I, we would laugh at that, but our parents, they were taught cigarettes are healthy for you. You're pregnant. Oh, cigarettes will help.
Well, I mean, there was that whole image of of being kind of like a macho man with the whole Marlboro Man attitude that was out there with the early cigarettes, where a lot of people thought that they would be seen as appealing because they were smoking, because cigarettes definitely had a sex appeal back in the day, whether it was James Dean and some of the other people that were seen smoking cigarettes. And of course, there was that whole Marlboro Man imagery. So yeah, they tried to paint the cigarettes as really great.
What they did with all the woo medicine. They go, oh, it's woo medicine. Oh, it's an old wives' tale. Oh, it doesn't really work. Oh, you're crazy if you depend on that. You should depend on the doctors. This is what they did back in the 40s. It's really interesting. During COVID, I went back and I watched the Waltons, and from start to finish, and they even showed in that there was a point in time when Elizabeth, the youngest, had ghosts, and there was a old wives lady healer that fixed it, and there was another time she had hurt her leg, and they didn't know if she was going to walk again, and she went to the healer woman, and she did. The healer woman fixed her, and Grandma had a poultice that helped.
Out there are very.
What's Mom's name? I can't. What's Mom's name? They helped. Mom got polio, and Grandma's poultices worked on that, and then it starts getting into. So that's the 30s, right? And then it starts getting into the war, and then Mary Ellen's becoming a doctor, and everything's about the doctor, the doctor, the doctor, the doctor, the doctor. But this is exactly the time frame that happened. And what they did was, oh, the doctors know everything. The doctors are modern. The doctors are cool. The doctors are gurus. We know so much more. Oh, that old wife stuff, that doesn't work. You're stupid if you do that. We're shaming people for doing things that have worked for 1,000 years. And it's all marketing. It's
marketing. But even to that point, Jeanette, I remember growing up that both my mom and my dad taught me about some foods that are naturally outside that can help you with your health and everything. Because I remember, and it's a Southern thing, so I know you have some family and friends in the South, so you may have heard of it. But there is a rapidly growing vegetable that's out here called poke salad, and that can be very good in your health and everything along those lines. So it's poke like you're poking somebody, and salad, but it's literally growing out in the wild and everything. But you have to know how to fix it and everything. But if you fix it, it can have some medicinal purposes. And I want to say the same thing even for dandelions, the plant and everything like that. So there's some things that are out there.
Dandelions have a lot of medicinal purposes. You betcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here we are. And I'm just saying, you guys, you got to ask questions. Ask questions for everything you put in your body. You go to the hospital, you go to the doctor. Don't just believe them because they said so. Get second opinions. Be your own advocate. Bring somebody with you to speak for you. And don't just let them spoon feed you whatever. And on that note, we're going to go get something healthy that we know is healthy because she cares so much about her people and her product. And we're going to go look at some Kendu Spice.
Let's go get some Kendu Spice and let you get that phone call that you're waiting for and everything like that. But let's get some Kendu Spice and we'll see you hopefully next week. But this has been a very necessary show talking about wellness, which is something you talk about and everything like that. By the way, if you want to get advice on your interior designing, don't forget to check the number that's at the bottom of the screen, 626-485-6354. Not only is she an advocate for health and an advocate for being your own self advocate, but my good friend Jeanette is also a masterful designer and everything like that. So if you have needs or all along those lines, please get in touch with her. That number again is 626-485-6354. And you don't even have to live in California. That's where she's at. But you can reach out to her if you're in any part of the world and all along those lines. And if you've got questions for us, you can reach her at her email. And I'm sure that that's on the website that is there
It's
as well.
designed at thecolorwhisperer.com, DESIGN.
Yep. So if you got any questions, you can reach her there. And also any questions you have for this show. Maybe there's a color that you're thinking about putting on. Maybe you're going like, do I want to paint my house orange? I don't know why you would want to paint your house orange, but maybe you want to paint it orange for some reason. Maybe you're a big fan of the Orange Crush, one of the football teams. I think that was Denver and all along those lines. So maybe there's a reason that you want to paint your house orange. But if you do, then she might tell you what colors to go with orange, or she might be like, don't paint your house, the entirety of the house orange. Or maybe you just want to paint one room orange if that's what you're all about. Maybe it's a team that you're backing, whether it's a team in the East or the West or all along those lines. But whatever questions you may have about interior designing, wellness, and a lot of the other things that Jeanette has had on these shows in the past, she's always open to having these conversations. So you can reach out to her, the email that she just gave you a minute ago, or you can also reach out to her producer, that would be me, at bluesradio@gmail.com. So hopefully we'll hear from you and we'll have some other questions to address and all along those lines. By the way, I saw some great gamification, and then I'm going to play Can Do Spice after this and everything. But on Coco Show, which is every Thursday, she gave away some prizes. I think they were gift baskets. And so they had a drawing. So her sister actually came and shook the little ball, and they had some winners. So maybe we'll figure out a way to have some prizes as well.
I love that. I'd be happy to give away a couple things. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, we might have to do that. So maybe we'll give away some services, because that's what she did, where she gave away some gift baskets, and they did like a little shuffle thing. And we even had some applause things that are on here as well and everything like that. But they gave, I think it was supposed to be 3, but it wound up being 4 prizes, because her sister gave away a bonus prize as well. So we can do that, and we can even show the prizes that are being given away. So maybe that's something we can do as well, because that was fun. And I think that was either her second or third time doing that, because she's been doing her show for about 5 years. So I think she's done it a few times now and everything like that. So we can look at that, but let's check out Can Do Spice. I hope that you get that call in a more positive note from your sister, but whatever it is, I know that you'll handle it and help her handle it as well. But right now, let's get out to hear Can Do Spice. But it's always good to see my lovely friend. She's just on the wrong coast, but that's okay. But she's still a good friend and everything like that. So I'll go out with Can Do Spices, and we'll catch you later. And I hope you have a great weekend as well, Jeanette.
You know how people love to enjoy food and don't understand how to flavor their food or how to replicate a meal? They're interested in supplements but don't know where to begin? Well, what I do is I take the guesswork out of enjoying flavor and wellness with my flavorful spice blends, so that they can create delicious meals with healing benefits. Can Do Spice was created to help cooks at any level enjoy healing through food. Every spice blend was designed to give added health benefits of natural herbs. Every blend is complete. There's no need to add any additional spice for a delicious meal. Saving you time and money while adding supplements to your meals can be both tasty and fun. My earliest memories in the kitchen began with my father, Kenny Can Do Bond, so it was fitting that I would name this line after him. I have always looked to natural remedies to supplement the body, and I found myself hiding herbs and minerals in foods for my family. That's when it hit me. Everyone needs Can Do Spice. Everyone should be having this. It's an exclusive brand for cooks at any level who want to create flavorful dishes with healing benefits that can satisfy the body and soul. Add a little spice to your life. Give Can Do Spice a try.